Coming to you from Strings and Things Studio in Ventura, California, and some of our homes. This is the Strings Unraveled podcast. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello. You could, because you're both in Fillmore, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So our satellite office is in Fillmore.
Yep. My house
Yeah.
and Karen's house.
Lovely 81 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning, Fillmore.
Yeah, it's been warm, and our air conditioner has not been working for a long time. But, yeah, it's been very hot. All right.
Ventura is not hot. It was muggy.
I'm going there tomorrow to work, from the studio, and I'm looking forward to it because it's supposed to be warm here. So it's always good to know I can go and get a break if I want to, if I need an excuse.
It was really foggy this morning. That marine layer extended out to Fillmore.
Thankfully, it never went away. And because I'm greedy, I was like, wouldn't it be nice if it was actually a rainy day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Summer showers.
Who wants to start with what they're working on?
Karin, what are you working on?
Okay. Hold on. Let me get through this one stitch because it's deciding to split. I am working through a stash project.
Ooh.
Hold on, one below. And it has wrap and turns, which, I'm all about German short row. But there's those times where you think, oh, I can substitute because I know better than the designer. This is not one of those times.
I hear you.
I tried it with the German short row.
With a humbling experience.
And I'm like, you know what? I should just appreciate that someone else tried it and they chose this short row for a purpose.
Yep.
This is just the very beginning. So it's supposed to be 3 strands together, but I'm using 2 fingerings instead of 3 lace weights, which I don't have. I used repurposing some old stash, some Knit Pick Stroll Gradient, and there was a lot of blue, but I sort of pulled all the blue out of 3 different cakes together, so that's what I've got. I'm mixing that with the Pearl Soho Sweetgrass. I don't know if you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
What color?
It smells really good. It's undyed cotton and alpaca.
Ooh,
so the whole thing will have this kind of warm brown, grassy brown.
Pretty. And what is it?
And it's, let me see if I can find the picture. It's one that originally had La Bien Amie.
Mm-hmm.
And looks really fun. There it is.
That's cute.
Oh, what's the name of it?
You can have it cropped or you can have it longer. It's top down, and all of this is attached in one direction, so you're just working down. But you start with the shoulders and you're going back and forth the short rows before you add on. But yeah, so I'd like to say it's,
What's the name of the pattern?
Rue du Paris, designed by Alma Bali.
Okay.
A-L-M-A, last name is B-A-L-I. Rue, actually it's plural. Rue.
Rue de Paris. Okay.
Yeah, but I think that should be plural. It should be D-E-S. But considering it's a French person designing it, I probably shouldn't be correcting him with my American French.
Yeah, they probably know
French. So one thing I did is, you can see on my chicken mark, is on my PDF, and a lot of people can do this. If you can edit, if you have the type of Adobe Acrobat where you can edit, you can actually change the color. So what I did was I went through and I changed the color of the number that was my size.
Ooh, smart.
Before I printed. So I probably should have made it a little brighter because in low light it's hard to tell. But for the most part, then it's easier to keep track of. But yeah, so I'm doing these wrap and turns and picking up the wraps, and it's a knit one below. So it kind of just, you can see there's a little different texture to it. But anyway, so that's what's on my needles. I started that yesterday. It took me a lot longer to get going than I thought, because it's not hard, but if you make a mistake and you get off, if you've ever done what's the knit one, purl one, and then purl one, knit one, and purl.
Seed stitch?
Huh?
Seed stitch?
Seed stitch, duh. I know, like this is like so easy, and I'm not thinking of it. If you get seed stitch off, there's no real fix. You have to take it out. So yeah.
That's what I like about Knit One Below though versus Brioche. I was like trying to figure out because they produce basically the same fabric.
They do.
I think Brioche might be more versatile for the like design elements you can incorporate and understanding the texture.
Mm-hmm.
Hitting like attacking that texture from brioche techniques is going to give you more designability. But Knit One Below Pro One is like much easier to produce and fix.
So this one though is Knit One Below, all the way across, and the wrong side row is just knit. So it's a little different texture, and it's not quite as poofy as a true, what is it called, a mistaken rib or something like that? No, that's a different stitch.
It's a fisherman's rib.
A fisherman's rib. So this one doesn't really give you the fisherman's rib feel as much as if there was a purl in between. But still, I like it.
I think you found like you love half brioche.
Yeah.
I think you just found the half stitch of Knit One Below.
Yeah.
Half fisherman's rib.
It's nice and stretchy, but it lays a little flatter than a ribbing. It's a little wider, so.
It's interesting texture. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is it written to be? No, you said it's written 3 lace weights.
It's written with 3 lace weights, like 2 fuzzy yarns and a regular smooth yarn held together. So, and I was thinking, oh, I've got a lace weight, and I've been using up all my fuzzies. So I don't have any fuzzy yarn. I didn't want to wait to try to order things because unlike the world before COVID, where you could order something and get it in the same week from anywhere in the world practically, now the wait time is what, 2-3 weeks before you get anything.
Depends on where you order anything from.
It really depends.
Yeah. Stuff that was supposed to ship 2 days with 2-day shipping from Amazon, I'm still waiting for it to get in the mail. And Amazon says, we'll check the carrier. And the carrier says, I never received it. And a week later, they still haven't resolved it. So I don't put anything off that I think I really need anymore.
I found that starting big projects like that during this time has been a challenge because I wanted to start the sweater that I'll talk about when it's my turn, but it was like, normally I would go to my stash and I'd find something. But I've used so much of my stash recently that I didn't have literally anything that would work. And so I had to order, and it was like, well, this is strange.
Well, I think you have to be like very inventive about your sources, like, and definitely more flexible about arrival times, but like you really have to be an informed purchaser before you make your decision. Like I'm finding really because things have changed the last week about who can be open and how they can access their businesses. So like I found several shops in Portland that I was already acquainted with, or one is new to me, but they fulfilled really swiftly. So you can find some really good fulfillment from local shops that you wouldn't normally think of. I think they're all like, pivot is the key word for businesses lately. So I think they've all had to learn how to pivot to like nurturing their online shops. So I ordered some yarn from Close Knit PDX, and which I will talk more about too. And that came I ordered on a Friday, and it was, I guess it was a week still. It came on from Friday to Friday, like a Friday night, which is really ship on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So that came pretty quickly. And they even took the time to like check dye lots and have a conversation with me about dye lots.
Things are shipping. I depending on the thing, but like they ship faster almost, like you said, from like smaller independent companies than like big box stores or whatever that are so back ordered that it takes longer to get it from Amazon or whatever it is.
It's not just that, but the shipping companies themselves. I had something get from Vegas to LA in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
It sat in LA for 5 days and then went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And it still has not made it back to California. And that was 5 days ago.
California.
So I'm like, are you ever going to make it back to California?
We had several things that got lost in Kentucky. Kevin had 2 or 3 things that got lost in
Like the
Kentucky.
black hole.
Yeah, it's a UPS problem, I think. I have something coming from Europe. Like
Ooh.
international shipping is back.
I've heard international shipping is a
Well,
mess though.
No. I got a bowl for making British pudding desserts, like a bread pudding, and I got that from the UK. Well, actually, it went from in one day. It went through 3 countries
Huh.
so fast. It went to
Those
Germany.
countries are all very close together
It
though.
went Poland, Germany, UK. Okay, but compare that with my Vegas to LA to Minnesota story,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so but I got that today. I was like, hey, and I only ordered that a week ago. So I guess it all depends on customs and who makes it through and who doesn't and what country it's coming from.
The yarn I'm waiting for from a British distributor. This one's I've heard of them before. I've just never ordered. Laughing Hens.
Oh, fun.
That is $10 a ball less than if I found it anywhere in the US.
Whoa.
I'm sure it will be
Wow.
a subject for next podcast. But yeah,
That's awesome.
it's like a unicorn is coming to me in the mail. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Anything else that you're working on, Karin?
I finished a bunch of stuff and I found myself yesterday going, what am I going to do now? A lot of
We've
I'm
got
like,
to
what am I
that
gonna do?
point.
A lot of my projects require me to sit down and do more stuff, or it's at the studio. So I'm like, let me go through my stash that is here. And some of this was stash that I was going to plan for something that's going to come out next month. But I thought, I don't want to wait for it. So it's going to become something. That's why it's becoming something new. But other than that, you know what, that thing where I worked on finishing a bunch of stuff. And so I finished. And now I'm just like, this is it for now.
Yeah.
Other than some sewing stuff, I guess I've got some sewing stuff that's like part done and then waiting to start. I don't know. That's about as vague as I get.
Mm-hmm. So like that counts, talking about sewing stuff. Katie, what are you working on?
I will warn you that literally everything that I'm going to talk about today is either designed by, can you guess who? Or is an upcoming pattern from
Jessie May.
So I'm working on.
I saw the picture of your really cool butt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I posted a picture of my butt on the internet today.
It actually looks really good.
I'll talk about that in the next segment.
In the next segment, yeah.
I'm working on a sample of for a test knit of her very V-neck raglan, which looks.
I saw the pattern in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Email.
That's the pattern I'm testing, and I'm making it in this like.
That is an awesome color.
Yeah.
This is. This was when I had to be creative about what I was going to use because I didn't have anything at home that was going to be enough or the right gauge. So I ordered from Michael's to pick up, and I'm using.
Oh, the solid.
Cotton cakes.
Nice.
Yeah, I love this yarn. So,
what weight is that?
It's technically a worsted, and the pattern calls for either like double strand fingering or DK, but I was able to sort of wrestle it into gauge to work for this. So,
because that's a real light worsted, right?
It's a pretty solid worsted. I'm getting 20 stitches over 4 barely on a 7. I probably would be doing better on a 6, but I didn't want to knit it that dense. But it's a pretty solid worsted.
And that's kind of the tricky thing when you have a pattern that's written for multiple yarns held together, because even if you have 3 fingerings, they may not be the same diameter. You can have a light with, it's
as long as you
where gauge swatches are really, really important.
I ordered 2 different yarns because they had this other one, which I'll grab, it's right over here, that I saw online that looked interesting, which is this creme cotton from Loops and Threads, which is like the Michaels brand, I think, but super duper soft. And it is 87% cotton and 13 nylon. And I
That
thought
sounds fabulous.
it's really, really nice. And it's got a ton of yardage, but it was definitely, this one was definitely too heavy because I couldn't get this one to, this was what I was going to use, but I ordered both of these just in case, because I hadn't, I got to get what I could get. So
yeah.
I'm working on that, and that's pretty much all I'm working on because I have a deadline I'm trying to meet for this. And I'm also working on some knitted and crocheted washcloths in the meantime, just different patterns and stuff. But that's pretty much all I'm currently working on. Some sewing projects, but not anything really exciting. So, Anne?
So
Your turn.
I'm working on so many things. It's like, I mean, the spring is a startitis time for me anyway, but like, I have this nasty habit lately of Friday night shopping to like unwind from the week, and I've been poking around online a lot. So where to begin? Okay, I want to be a good citizen and show you what I've been stash busting.
Okay.
So, there's a really cute pattern on Ravelry called Safe at Home. It's a very adorable blanket that you make all these little row houses.
Oh, so cute.
Oh, cute.
Like there's triangles that come in to make the sky. So each house is made of 5 colors. And you can make each house individually, or you can make a row of the house, the ground floor of the houses.
Uh-huh.
Oh, how fun.
And then you come back and make the roofs and skies, and they kind of attach to, I think you
Is that Intarsia?
It is. And I do not like Intarsia.
Mm-mm.
Like the only thing I like least is duplicate stitch.
Oh.
But this little blanket is so precious that it's worth it. So I have my first row of 9 houses done. It's 9 rows of 9 houses, and then I'm starting my roofs.
Oh, this is so cute.
Are you looking on Ravelry?
Yes.
And the patterns, I think it's only like $4.99, so it's not a very expensive pattern, but it'll keep you busy for a long time. She used, there it is.
That's
oh, how
so
cute.
I had this yarn.
I love it.
It's Brava Sport. It calls for worsted. It actually calls for Malabrigo Rios, which I think having a whole blanket out of Malabrigo would be a really delicious treat.
Kind of decadent.
So I had this. I'm using it at my stash. It's a giant bag of yarn that I bought last summer to make like a July crocheted block along, and it wasn't going to make a very big blanket, and I was kind of in a mood anyway at the time, so I never really finished it. So the yarn's I made like the first 5 blocks, and
but it does feel good to kind of use up, to repurpose something that you got for one thing that, you know what I'm saying? To repurpose what you have.
Yeah. So even though it's sport, I'm having no problem. Like it's going to be a huge blanket.
How's the yarn itself? Because I've thought about ordering the worsted version, but I've never used it.
It's great. Like it's a nice smooth acrylic. It's probably, thinking of some name brands, it's probably like somewhere between like Bernat Baby Weight or Sport and Seardar. Like it's nice, but it's heavier than either of those. I think it's 274 yards a ball for the Sport. So on the idea of having a whole blanket out of Malabrigo, I still think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I again use stash, and I'm making a giant granny square Afghan. Most of it's Malabrigo. This is not.
Nice.
Vacation yarn I got in Seattle last year.
I love that.
Makes it special though, and I like your colors.
Then I bought 12 more balls of Malabrigo. But about a third of it is stash. Then out of each, I can get 2 10 round things on an H hook out of each ball, and then I get about 20 to 15 grams left, so I'm going to make a big rectangular one.
That's pretty.
And then this will just sit around, and all my nice worsted scraps will go into this.
Nice.
someday that'll be done.
But you can also feel good because you were supporting a local business.
Yes, well, I got most of my colors from Super Buzzy. I bought 2 from Jimmy Beans, who never slowed down their shipping. Like, all their shipping has been super speedy. So forget the plastic. Here's all my colors from Super Buzzy. I also have like a fuchsia from her. And the colors I got from, she's got probably 2 dozen really nice colors. I got Matisse Blue and Purple Mystery from, here's Matisse Blue. It's like the truest true blue. And I got this fuchsia from Super Buzzy. So,
I was talking about Malabrigo colors yesterday with some of my drop-in people, and I was thinking about how much I miss being surrounded by all those colors, because it's like we would talk about a color and be like, oh my god, remember Piedras, or remember whatever, and it was like, man, all those colors were so good.
Azul Profundo.
Yep.
Because there's
That's my favorite blue, I think, Azul Profundo.
I like
It's a very profound blue.
That's what I mean.
Ah.
So we don't do French, but we can do our Spanish.
Actually, I think I looked it up. It means deep blue, but still.
Yeah.
I like profound blue better.
One's called Chameleon. It's a one that I had never seen in person. There's a new color that I saw back in January at Fabric Town called Wabi Sabi. And it's this very, very pretty blue. Like if Anniversario ditched all the warm colors and only had blues and greens and purples. Everywhere was sold out of that. So I'm not Wabi Sabi in this blanket. But this one's very pretty. It's a color I've never seen. Chameleon with no H.
That's pretty.
So I'm excited about this. And then it was a magic storm, like a storm of Inside Crochet. I've been following them on Instagram. I don't always take the magazine, but it's a very good crochet magazine. They just had a picture of someone holding a granny square blanket with huge granny squares and just all snuggled in that, and it looks like such a delightful idea. And then I found this new way to join them where you kind of overlap the 2 squares and then you chain along, so the chain becomes like a surface design. So I think I'm gonna get pearl gray, right? Yeah, pearl gray to be my grid of all of them being joined, and then I'll use whatever's left over for my border.
I like the Pearl 10, yeah.
That's what it's called, huh? It's a gray. I knew
it's a gray.
That wasn't right.
It's Pearl 10. I don't know where the 10 comes from, but
I don't know. Then that's why I want to kick it out of my thoughts. Okay, so those are my 2 blankets, which are I don't like finishing blankets, but these ones are really cute.
Yeah.
When I often start blankets and never finish them.
I have to make a blanket for a wedding gift, and I haven't decided like if I'm gonna knit it or if I'm gonna crochet it or what I'm gonna do.
Quilt it.
No, I think the person I'm making for would appreciate. I mean, she'd appreciate anything, but I like the idea of the giant granny squares because I want to make it multiple colors, but I don't want to work too hard. So I was thinking granny stripe, but I like the giant granny square idea.
Granny stripe is one of the few blankets that I've really enjoyed, and I thought about starting a new one with the little dribble drabble worsted weights, but I discovered a long time ago that the biggest granny square I'm interested in is 10 rounds.
Yeah.
If I could have not exceeded half of the ball I was testing, which was I think I had 96 grams in the ball I was testing out how far I could go. An 11th round took too much yardage. So I would have pushed it to 11 if that would have been halfway, but happily 10 is perfect. So I'm still working on my second scrapper, which has gotten very, very close to completion. And then I am still working on Alexander's sweater, which is the simpler, sinister sweater. I was hoping that I would be like able to transfer that to the what have you finished column, but I don't think that's happening tonight.
I want to see the chicken sweater.
I know it's coming.
I want to see it.
Okay,
But you're
it's
working
coming.
on, it, so that counts for the segment.
No, I know, but I wanted to tell you about the kitty sweater in a minute. Show it to you. I mean, I've been talking about it for months. But what Katie has asked for. So this is
it's so pretty.
This is the yarn I got from Close Knit PDX, which is, you know, PDX for Portland. So adorable.
So cute, that label.
But it's called Bobo, which is Portuguese for grandma, by the yarn company Rosa Romar.
That's so cute.
I can't tell if it's a P or an R. I don't. So have you heard that like Portuguese speakers have no problem going into Spain and learning Spanish, and they pick it up like they're not even thinking. And then people from Spain or Spanish speakers, they go and try to learn Portuguese, and it doesn't go both ways.
Oh,
the word for wool, like, because it's like close but not quite. Okay, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this.
Yeah, leading in.
Yeah.
Show you the word for wool. Do you see that?
Is it la?
But it has a tilde after the A on the A.
Yeah, la.
It's
like
actually
there.
I had Google say it for me, and it was like, yeah. Like, I'm sure I'm not doing it right. So you have to have Google say it for you. It was community approved, the pronunciation. So I'm like, I don't even know what word that is. How do you do a tilde on a vowel?
I'm going to pull it up right now and we can listen to Google say it.
Okay, so this is 100% wool. It is made from a specific sheep, Serra de Estrella. It's not double L, it's a single L. And it's very squishy, but it's also very sturdy. Like kind of the way Brooklyn Tweeds.
Yeah.
What is that first yarn he did?
Shelter.
What?
Shelter.
It's kind of like how Shelter is both sturdy and squishy at the same time, but it's a little softer knit up than Shelter is. Okay, this is a top by Boylan Knits. What is her name? Caitlin Hunter.
Too much.
It's called Jupiter Crop. It just came out.
It's so cute.
Those colors are gorgeous.
And
you knit that so fast.
So I started on Saturday during drop-in.
Unbelievable.
Cast on my ribbing twice because counting's for suckers. And I'm very.
What size needle?
It's 20 stitches to 4 inches, and I'm on a 6. Like I'm pretty consistently a 6 in stranding.
But I do find that stranded work goes faster because I'm more engaged.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm so into it, I can't put it down.
This is a lot of hours. Like it's not like I'm so fast. I put a lot of hours in, but I can't put it down. It's like a book that you have to read in one sitting. So here in the design is where you lengthen it. So in the yoke, you lengthen the yoke in the feathers as well. And lengthen the body here. I think I'm going to add 4 repeats of the feathers, which will give me an additional 2 inches approximately, which means that my finished, well, the bottom of the sweater is supposed to be 7, the body is supposed to be 7 inches, which is not actually under my boot. So,
it might be a bit too cropped.
Right now where it is, it's just coming under. And also there's 3 inches of ribbing, so you have a lot, like I still, even after finishing the amount of feather I want to do, I will still have plenty of options to lengthen it because I can do that in the ribbing, and I have an extra ball of my bobo. How do you do 2 accents?
Do you want to hear how Google says it?
Yes.
Okay. It's not she just is saying bleh. I don't know if we have any Portuguese listeners, so I apologize if it sounds like we're making fun of this word, but it literally sounds like she's saying bleh.
I'm
trying to say it right, but how can I say it with a straight face?
I want you to know, Portuguese speakers, that it's more that I am in awe of your linguistic prowess.
Yeah.
My ignorance and dumb tongue than anything.
Yeah.
So that is
Ditto for us.
the colors were chosen very carefully after our neighborhood rooster that wanders around our blocks, and he has no fear. Like, he stands in the middle of the road and he's
Is he kind of like
chicken with you.
kind of like
Well, it's not. No, it's not at all. He doesn't even like acknowledge that you exist. Like, here's
the
my
road is his?
and he doesn't even recognize that I am coming towards him. I want him to like, and the neighborhood cats are like, I don't know if his reputation precedes him or if they're too smart to go after a cock or what.
Maybe they've encountered him before and they've learned.
Yeah. So he's a badass, and he just wanders the neighborhood like he's the king. And
That should be a colorway, badass rooster.
badass rooster. Yeah. Well, the thing, and it's fun because, you know, lots of people are just doing cool colorways, but plenty of people are doing it inspired by their chickens. And I think that the cover, no, it's not actually not in the pattern at all. But on Ravelry, there's a picture of her holding a chicken that totally matches the
Sweater.
The color choice. Yeah. So that's my big thing. I think it's going to be the only thing I finish between here and next time. I'll still be like, so I'm still working on Alexander's sweater.
Yeah.
On my other fade, but maybe I'll be wearing my new chicken. I got stuck in my zipper, which is pulling all of my attention right now. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do we want to switch to what have we finished?
Yeah. Karin,
Okay.
you said you finished a lot of things, so let's hear it.
Okay, so I finished a sweater. Let me put this down. Of course, it's at the studio, but it's called Leaf Yoke Sweater, and it's crocheted, and it has this. Let me see if I can. I don't know if you can see it. Isn't that gorgeous?
Do you want me to go get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Since you're there.
Can you talk about something else for a minute? Or maybe Katie goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If
I
you guys
finally
are
finished
just
my
listening-
break.
If you guys are just listening to this podcast, listeners, if you're just listening, I apologize because I think now we're used to doing this with video, so we'll try and be conscious of like explaining things also, which I'm terrible at, but like maybe treat yourself to sitting down and watching it instead.
Well, the leaf yoke sweater it's this beautiful crocheted yoke that's like leaf shapes with a lacy opening.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty, and I used it with I love all Pearl Soho. It needs to be blocked, but whatever. You know, it'll go on my pile of other things that need to be blocked. Super enjoyable. I went through that like in less than a week. In the same way that Anne is going through her sweater super fast. Even the sleeves were very enjoyable. They actually only go to your elbow.
And the stitch pattern is super cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
2 rows. It's kind of rows, but you're going in the round. You'll go around and you'll slip stitch, and then you'll turn and go the other way and just keep going back and forth. Yeah, it's a really interesting combination of just double crochets and crossed double crochets. And so they create this little row of eyelets where the crosses open up. So
Was it top down or bottom up?
Top down. I really like this designer. She has handbags. She's got Natalia Kononova, outstandingcrochet.com. And she's got a lot of beautiful, beautiful crochet sweaters and, like I said, bags with texture. I would do a second one of that one easily, except I've already have some other sweaters of hers in the queue that I want to go for. I was really glad that I did that before it got super hot, because it's a worsted weight, but it feels a little more dense. I'm becoming a lover of all things Pearl Soho. So that is linen quill worsted. And I will say, I do like the color a lot. It's not quite what I thought I was getting. I should have paid it a little more attention when it says peach stone. It's kind of this warm gray, but I wasn't thinking of like peach pit, the stone of a peach, because that is exactly the color that you get. And it is really nice. It's going to be neutral. I'll be able to wear it over t-shirts and stuff, because where we live, we don't really need warmth. the other thing I finally finished, I got all the ends woven. It needs to be blocked, but is my Great British Baking Shawl. So I'm scrolling through because this thing is long.
Wow.
But wait, there's more. But when you okay, so I gotta wait till I'm at the studio to block it because this thing is blocks so huge. I've got my big double island and it extends from one corner across the other corner, and I have to put my big roll of batting to extend it like 3 feet beyond.
You know,
Really.
I was thinking about that. If you want to block in the hallway here,
Yeah.
as long as we want them to stay, closed, I think that you could block that big monster in the hallway.
Yeah, I probably could nowadays. I could probably do it on Friday because it'll be there. And let's see. So I was on Sweater Island. I did finish. I don't know if I finished Gramps Revised then. I think I was working on the sleeves, but I finally did finish it. And I've worn it a few times.
Super cute on.
Okay, you know what? I had someone say that they didn't notice me someplace. I'm like, how do you not notice someone wearing a super hot bright pink sweater?
Fluorescent, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was wearing a mask, but the sweater's kind of a giveaway.
Well, it's like, oh, I saw this girl in a bright salmon-colored sweater. I'm sorry, in a flamingo-colored sweater.
Right, yeah. Flamingo-colored sweater.
So okay, for those who are listening, it is called Bright Flamingo, and it was our challenge, and I finally finished it. It's like a really warm peach and a really pale, creamy pink, but it's almost like a white pink. Like it's just, and then I went through my stash of buttons, and these do not match, but they coordinate.
They're cute.
Yeah, so, but I was just proud that I got all my ends woven in because that was like, and not that I'll start it yet, but I have a lot of these little itty bitties leftovers. And if you haven't done the Great British Baking Shawl, because they actually designed a cowl that you can do with all the little leftovers, which is really fun.
And it has a very different aesthetic. Like
which one, the shawl?
The cowl to the shawl. The cowl looks
yes.
very different than the shawl.
Yes, it is very different. But
it's cute.
I'm trying to think if I finished any. Oh, I finished a quilt top. So I just need to start. I was working on Buzz with like a gazillion Z's, and it's a combination of strip quilting with foundation paper piecing, and it creates this giant circle of bees. Huh?
Well, I was gonna ask if you could hear those sirens, but they just stopped. Sorry about that.
No, they were. I was really glad that they stopped. I like that people do birthday drive-bys, but in our neighborhood,
it's somebody's birthday.
In our neighborhood, it's the police sirens doing birthday drive-bys along with fire trucks doing birthday drive-bys.
I'm assuming next week is graduation for the local high school.
Oh God, I hate that.
But it's gonna be quite a loud day.
I know they go through with loud honks and parades. I just don't get that. We never did that.
What are you gonna do?
Well, so did you have like a COVID crisis during your graduation?
Yeah.
No, I mean they do that honking for graduation, no matter what.
Honking is a big thing, but it's gonna be.
But I'm talking about the honking thing. That was not a thing we ever did. Even in Ventura, people didn't do that.
Oh, we did that.
Is it a Fillmore thing?
I don't know if honking is a thing. That's like, if you go honking, it's like it's graduation or it's homecoming night or it's
homecoming
or the Santa Paula Fillmore game or something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was pretty much done, so that was fine. I had nothing but more to contribute other than some. But I finished a couple sweaters in a month. I pushed myself past Sleeve Island.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Because sleeves don't take that long.
No, they really don't. If I buckle down, depending on the gauge of the sweater, I can knit a sleeve a day. It's just you have to
Well,
Make
that's
it cute.
thinking about how fast you two are with sleeves pushed me on. I know. Okay, Anne's making a really funny doubtful face, and it's a funny one.
I just like, because sleeves can take anywhere. Usually sleeves take at least a day. Like at the very least for me, depending on the gauge, 1.5 knitting sessions usually.
Okay, for some people that's fast.
Oh yeah.
Some of us may be on Sleeve Island for weeks.
But
Each
you
sleeve.
remember a month ago I was working on the sleeves for Simple or Sinister, and I only have, it's like the time something takes and the amount of work is different. That, you know, those are two different things. So like I'm still not finished with those sleeves, and I only have like 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Those 12 rounds, they could take an eternity.
It's just, if you're not motivated to finish it, then it doesn't matter how great it is, because you're not going to finish. You're not going to finish.
It does. I mean, really, that move, like the idea of doing the sleeves as a separate unit really helps me for sure.
Yeah.
And then I can make myself do it first.
Well, last time we recorded, I was working on my shorts, which I finished, my ripple butt shorts from Jessie.
That name.
So these are my shorts. They look funny because they are all in ribbing, so they're
like
very stretchy.
I love
They
them.
are super flattering.
They're very comfy.
I'm not into butts, but you have a nice butt. Okay,
Oh, thank you.
Put it out there and say it.
I haven't worn them a lot because it's a little too hot to be wearing wool shorts, but I'm sure in the wintertime they will be very comfy. But they were a fun knit, and they didn't take very long. I mean, it's like less than a sweater, right? There's no sleeves.
Yeah.
Just, the legs themselves are only, and I think I even lengthened them. They're only like a little.
It's like doing 2 cowls, right?
Yeah, it was like nothing. We made these but lengthened them into like cropped leggings, like kind of capri length, and they were super cute.
That was a very creative tie at the top.
Yeah, I didn't want to knit like a super long I-cord because I find that to be obnoxious. So I just pulled a drawstring out of an old pair of sweatpants from my drawer, and it worked out perfectly.
That's like another thing that could take an eternity is a drawstring I-cord, right?
Yeah, that could take literally forever.
That's as bad as a sleeve.
Yeah, it was like, I don't even know how long, but it would have to be like 60 inches or something. I'm like, I'm not knitting 60 inches of I-cord. So, I don't know if I was I don't think I was working on my mini ripple crop top.
For your niece?
Yeah, no. So I made the tank top, the green and purple one, for my almost 5-year-old niece. And then I was testing her mini version of her ripple crop top. So she's coming out with a kid's version of that pattern. So I made it for my other niece, when's her birthday? She just turned 1. So I made the 18-month size. And look at how tiny it is.
It's so cute.
So cute.
It's not blocked it, so it's like a little disproportionate, but it's so freaking cute. So I used some stash sock yarn in like a buttery yellow, and it's got like little pops of pink and gray, and it's very cute. And it's got a big stretchy neck hole, so I think it'll fit her big noggin. And I told my sister, I was like, oh, I'm making a crop top for Emily, and she was like, a crop top? And I was like, yeah.
For a 1-year-old?
But I added 2 inches, so it's not cropped. It'll be like a full length shirt on her, because my sister was a little weird about the crop top. So I was like, okay, I'll make it like an actual shirt.
Yes.
And Jessie said it was okay. So,
which is hysterical, because when my generation was babies, they let your kids run around butt naked. So.
Oh yeah, we wore a lot of belly showers when I was a kid. That's what we called them.
Belly showers.
That was a big thing when I was a kid in the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah. So other than those 2 things, my ripple butt shorts and my mini ripple crop top, I haven't really finished a whole lot else. That's about it.
That's the problem with startitis, is that you put all your time into finishing things. And I was really thinking, like, why in the world am I like at the same place I was on the projects I talked about that I was working on? Then, I mean, other than starting a bunch of things, but I did
I have. Oh,
yeah.
look how pretty that is.
thing
What is that called?
is called A Good Friend.
Oh,
And it's a brand new pattern. It's my first outside test knit.
is
Nice.
that from Nadira Tani or Kalisha?
Hold on one second. I'm going to say her real name and not just cop out and say her screen name.
Isn't it Sophia something?
Yes.
Ah, that's it.
Just one second. As fast as this internet will load, which is why I'm here instead of at home, because there's less devices here. So why don't I put a bunch of
Pretty fast
devices
at the
in the
studio.
internet at once?
Yeah, if I freeze from time to time, it's because I'm in a household with 6 people all using electronic devices.
Sophia Talley.
Mm.
So she is the author of the Scrapper Cardi that stole my heart. And then at some point last month or two, she put out a call for more test knitters, and her test knit is super chill.
Mm-hmm.
And I think A Good Friend came out on Ravelry maybe just yesterday. It's been in the last couple days.
Yeah, I saw her announce it was live.
And it's the perfect little kind of fichu, like a tiny little ruffly shawl, and it's size. So it has like a sizing like you would choose the yoke of your sweater.
Mm.
Oh, cool.
I was going to order more yarn for it, and then I went digging in my stash and I found the right stuff. Now she wrote it for DK at a real big gauge. Since I found this is like a heavy worsted chunky. It's the Pantone Pantone braid.
Mm-hmm.
And in between, I had a natural color one because I had bought it when it was on clearance to see if it was cool to dye.
Uh-huh.
I dyed every other stripe. So this one,
Oh, that's cool. It's perfect.
yeah. And then the rest is stash. And so, because it's so cool the way it's shaped, it sits on your shoulders really nicely if you just want to put it on.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something I find fussy about shawls, is whether or not they sit on your shoulders. And then because it's ruffle shaped, it also wraps really beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it's
like
cute.
I like it.
Scarf too, the way she had it on in the picture too.
she's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
On the test knit pattern, she had because like all her Scrapper Cardi pictures have her cute little baby in there.
Yeah.
The picture with the test knit had a great picture of her and her little boy. And I'm sad that she didn't put him in the Ravelry pictures because it's a really cute picture. I'm sure it'll be on her social media, which her screen name is it The Drunk Knitter or Drunk Knitter?
Oh, the drunken knitter. I have her t-shirt. I have a t-shirt from her.
I think it's just Drunk Knitter.
I think it is, yeah.
The drunk knitter.
Something like
I
that.
should know, yeah. But if you, her t-shirt is really pretty because it's got like a spiral, not spiral, but a circle shape outlining the words of her name with like flowers and sheep heads but it's very well done.
Drunk Knitter.
The drunk knitter.
Yep.
Drunk.
No, just drunk.
I said drunk.
I keep saying The Drunk Knitter.
Well, on my t-shirt it says the.
Okay. So that's the one thing I finished. The end.
The end. Well, I find I have a lot of startitis or a lot of shop. I waste so much time planning more things. And then I do talk myself out of it before I hit, confirm on the cart.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm finding myself wasting. I feel like it's a kind of a waste because I'm filling time planning stuff. And I'm like, I already do have stuff. I need to do the stuff I've got, but I'm just not inspired. I'm more inspired by the planning right now. Thinking, maybe it's because I'm thinking that this is a future project in a time where we won't be like we are kind of thing.
Sometime during the month, I just got like very grumpy because I realized there was nothing to look forward to.
Yeah.
Like usually there's a trip or an event or something to look forward to. And I am a perfectly happy homebody. Like I am a introverted homebody, but I like to still have something to look forward to.
James and I were talking about that the other day because he's the same way. He's a homebody and he's an introvert. And he was saying the hardest part for him has been recently, he realizes just not being able to be spontaneous. It's
Yeah,
like, we can't just go to the movies, or we can't just like go to dinner, you know? And that's been, I think that's what's like weighing on me, especially because I like going out and I don't like being, I mean, I like being at home, but I'm not a homebody. So it's like, I like to be able to just like, hey, I have a day off. Let me just go to the movies or whatever, you know? So.
It's hard. I hear my son, now that things are opening up, and he's like, I'm not going anywhere. I can't get a job. I'm not going out. He's afraid to go out of the house to go do something because he's like, I can't be out there in the public. It's scary out there. And he's got this fear that people are not taking seriously enough, and that it's a lot worse. And as his mother, I feel like at some point, is he going to let go of that and trust that the world really will be okay? Or is he going to live in this fear that they're all lying to us and it's really, really bad out there still?
So. Well, it probably isn't safe to be going out. I'm just going to say that no. I don't think that just because things are open means you should go out. I agree. Not to say I haven't gone out anywhere, but I am wearing a mask, and I'm, just because you can go to a restaurant doesn't mean you should. And especially since I mean, God bless you all who live in LA County who came to Ventura County, because our economy surely needed it, but I don't need to be out in it. Main Street was a zoo this weekend. And
see, that does sort of creep me out that people are still not using caution. I'm like,
I find that when I do go out, I went out today just to I went to Rite Aid and I did a couple errands, and I find myself being angry when I'm out at people who aren't wearing masks, or who aren't wearing a mask properly, the people who walk
on the chin
sticking out, and I find myself it's surprising how quickly things change, because you never thought about any of this before, obviously, but it's now I'm thinking all the time about what I touched, or wearing a mask, or if I go anywhere, making sure I have my hand sanitizer with me, or being aware of other people around me, and then just being upset when people seem like I get upset, people are too close to me, or people aren't wearing a mask. And I'm not the sort of person that would ever yell at a stranger, but I want to be why aren't you wearing a mask, or why are you standing so close to me?
Yeah.
Or when you clearly need something, if I'm standing at the grocery store and I am in the way of someone, I step aside so they can get the thing they need. But I find myself getting so irritated because I am clearly waiting for someone to, and I will even speak. Today I even spoke up and said, "Excuse me," and the woman just completely ignored me, and the woman behind her said, "Oh, here, let me get that for you." And part of me was like, "Thank you," and the other part of me is like, "And now you've touched my stuff."
Yeah, people are really oblivious to anybody but themselves.
I mean,
but it's what's the point of wearing the mask improperly? You're breathing on it, and now you're going to put it up by your face. It doesn't protect you as a chin rest. It doesn't protect you. And I had heard this commentary that don't move it from the center up, because your hands have now move it from the sides up, because your hands are getting right where the germs are and putting it right across your face. But
yeah. Anyway,
no, I get really frustrated when I see other people not taking caution. It's not that hard.
It's funny when you talk about the ways people wear masks, or the things people wear, because you see the people with their nose sticking out. I saw a lady at Target wearing a bandana just over her nose, and her whole mouth and chin were out. And I was she folded it into a tiny strip and it just covered her nose, and I was like, okay. It's so stupid.
Oh God.
But then I think about that doctor that was on an airplane and he got sick, and he was wearing a mask properly and gloves, but it came through the vents onto his eyes. So Yeah, I didn't even know you can get it through your eyes.
It's an orifice in your body.
It's a whole nother thing. So in September, when we are able to travel again, because we have airline tickets, I'm like, we're gonna wear baseball caps. We're still gonna wear masks. We're gonna wear baseball caps, so that the air coming down from the plane or goggles, whatever. I have all those goggles from when I used to teach chemistry. So
Snorkel gear.
huh?
Snorkel gear.
That might be too much, but I know I could look. That look on your face says you'd like to see it.
I have a couple of pairs I could lend you that haven't been used in a year, so they should be like safe to lend out.
Oh, thank you.
I will truly not feel safe until there's an effective vaccine that is proving to work.
Yeah.
That's I feel safe. And I was talking to my boss about that, and it'll be interesting to see what the regulations are for if everyone has to be vaccinated to participate in things, blah, blah, blah. But I don't care. Because if I get vaccinated and if my kids get vaccinated, I don't care what you do.
You're the person that doesn't want to vaccinate themselves because you don't want whatever. I'm like, you're just harming yourself at that point. Like,
only reason that I feel like there should be any regulation on everyone being vaccinated is that the immunocompromised cannot protect themselves.
right, that's true.
You sure, I can say I'll get vaccinated, my family will, and now they're safe, but the people who will not get vaccinated are risking the lives of people.
The people who
need that protection. When we were traveling at Christmas time for just flying to Portland, Dante was having, we're all phlegmy because we're all always allergies. And Dante let out a big old cough. And this poor lady, it was like rows sitting back to back at the airport. And this lady, Dante coughs really loud and everyone jumped away.
Oh.
And this lady turned around and she was wearing a mask. She's like, I've just had transplant surgery, so he's not sick with anything, is he? And I'm like, no, but I mean, he should have done a better job of containing it. I'm sorry. And I got thinking about what her life is like now, because she's going to be immunocompromised for the rest of her life. And that's before we all had to really consider our immune systems. And now we're all living in some version of what that lady's going to have for her life. And I felt bad. Maybe Dante had germies. He was coughing because he was, because we're all killing germs in our immune systems all the time and expelling them. He was not coughing because of a contagious disease.
Yeah.
But, I hope we all just do a better job of controlling our disgustingness.
You would hope so. You'd think that we would all learn to be better stewards of our, of the people around us in our, community, but
yeah.
I've noticed that in the first month or so, first month for sure, everyone was like, here, let me help you, and let's all be a community. But the longer it goes, the more tired people are. Their natural nature comes out more. I feel like I see fewer and fewer people being helpful or considerate, and you could just see the haggardness of it going on. And I know that other generations have had far worse. I mean, we have really meat. We can actually still get two things of meat anytime we go to the market, as opposed to we don't have ration tickets like my grandmother did, where you had one thing of meat for the whole week for your whole family. I don't care how many people in your household, you got one. And coffee, forget about coffee. Can you imagine, as much as we depend on our Starbucks, what if there's no coffee for 6 months or a year? That would be crazy.
Yes, thankfully supply chains are not really damaged. It's people's selfish behavior that was damaging supply chains.
Right. Well, maybe we can use this as a segue for our topic for tonight.
To calm us down.
Yeah. So, Anne, this was your suggestion. You want to talk about it?
So I was wondering, and this would be a great thing for our listeners and now viewers to share with us if you feel like you've been doing something that falls in this category. So, we're all like obsessively knitting and crocheting, but that's our normal level.
Mhm.
So I was curious to talk tonight about like if there's any kind of new things or old things that you brought up that are your go-to calming crafting. So I have been playing with auditioning a lot of new things. Like I have brought back an oldie but goodie, which is like doodling and watercoloring. Nothing's really fit for showing right now, but that's not the point of doing this thing.
Right.
Mhm.
The point of this is just purely as an exercise of getting into that place where you're not thinking and worrying about what's going on around you or what the outcome is going to be. And then I've been thinking about some new stuff. Like I saw an ad for doing a leather craft bag. So they send you like all the stuff like ready to go for this Cambridge style
Pre-drilled.
bag.
Mhm.
So I'm toying with the idea of leather craft or a kit for it anyway.
Mhm.
That's cool.
And then this like taps into our later segment of what are you obsessed with. I have become obsessed with dollhouse miniatures. Like I've tagged Karin in this this quilter who does these adorable hexagon quilts, and she sells the kit for them, and she sells the actual paper piece miniature quilts.
Mhm.
I think the miniature quilts are only like 50 to 54, and the kits are like $18.
Wow. That's not bad actually for all the stuff you get.
Yes.
I have a friend that's restoring like a miniature dollhouse, and the pictures she's posting or sharing are like they're so freaking cute. I get it.
Are you friends with Kathy Sokol? Or we're not thinking about the same person? I'm gonna find. I have a friend who has been. Her husband built this dollhouse since the beginning, and she's been making little tiny furniture and little tiny placemats for the tables. And
Cute.
I'll find her stuff. It's pretty amazing.
It's definitely like, it's world making, and I haven't started any of it. I mean, every little girl wants the dollhouse, and I never really had like, I mean, I had my own room, but there was never really room for like a classic dollhouse. And I don't have room for it now either, but I'm playing with the idea of making dollhouse miniatures.
Here, let me show you. I don't know if you can see.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't it cute?
I want to live in that little tiny room.
Oh wait, let's see if I can find. Let me see if I can get the next one. There's her little. There's little tables, and look at the little detail right up there.
Very cute.
That let's see. Hers is like yours. It comes with it's a kit.
That sounds so cute.
Let me see if I can find the information on that.
I always see those like doll houses that you can like paint and like decorate yourself at like Hobby Lobby up on those tall shelves.
Ooh.
And I'm always looking at them like that would be so fun. I like that.
Yeah. Imagine your little nieces come over and they can play in Auntie
Yep.
Katie's dollhouse.
Oh, look.
I can't.
This one has a little swing for the porch.
I can't let myself
God.
start into this.
Isn't that way too fun?
Oh, that's adorable.
So do you have any other examples of what you've been doing, Anne?
No. Yeah, I'm like auditioning things.
Thinking about.
But doodling and watercolor has always been something that is
I love watercolor.
so relaxing.
I've always wanted to be the sort of person that can like doodle and paint and art. I'm not an art person, I've learned, because I'm not creative in that way, and I just get too stressed doing it, like, which is the opposite of what should be happening. But I find coloring books to be a good option for me because somebody's already done the art. I just have to fill it in with color, and I like that part.
I was, you're always a little psycho with your first kid, and one of the reasons I'm so drawn to everybody one of the reasons I'm so drawn to that blanket safe at home is that when I was a kid, my parents they had a printing shop, and they'd give me huge sheets of 18 by 24 paper, and I would draw all day long, and they tape it to the wall. It was great, actually, to these filing cabinets. Perfect. And most of the time I would draw houses.
Mm-hmm.
Any kind of architectural need to.
And now you're knitting houses.
It was just very soothing to me to draw the block and then
Mm-hmm.
draw the slanted line and then draw the door and then draw the roof.
And a little chimney.
Yeah. And I drew and the sun in the corner.
Yep.
And I drew the same house every time.
Yeah.
But it was so soothing. And
I play The Sims on my computer. The Sims 4 is like the recent version of The Sims. But my favorite part of that game is just building houses. There's so many options, and then like decorating all the rooms and choosing all the paint colors. So that's probably like my version of the miniature houses, is just building Sims houses. Because I'll go on Pinterest and I'll look up like floor plans or like facades of houses and just like base things off of that and then build the rest of the house off of that. And it's so fun. And you can kill a lot of time doing that.
Oh yeah. So when Alexander was little, my oldest, I forbid coloring books. Like, I told everyone they could give him as much drawing paper and art supplies and crayons, but I wanted him to just draw from his imagination. Now with the younger two, and then we've done family coloring nights.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what am I sick with? Why did I tell him he couldn't have coloring books?
Yeah. I was just talking about this with somebody else about like the difference between kids, and like my 5-year-old nephew likes to draw, but it's not like his favorite thing. But my niece, it's her favorite thing in the world is to like color and draw. So it's like, it just depends on the kid. Because if it was me and you told me I couldn't have a coloring book, I just had to draw my own pictures, I wouldn't do it because I'm not good at that part of it.
My oldest always is not a creative minded person. He likes to, but he loved to color if you gave him a coloring book, because at least there was lines.
Yeah.
When we would do homeschool, we had history related coloring books, because you can get a coloring book for any point in history or story, whatever. But when I tried to do that with my other two kids, it was torture. They were so much happier if I gave them a blank piece of paper and just. Because
it depends on the kid.
Shocker, Trevor doesn't like to follow the lines. He doesn't like to be limited in the lines. And Ian, my analytical engineer, his boxes give him structure. It's just the way his brain, he's happy to be a part of it, but he needs a foundation first. And a coloring book with its blank, with just lines, no color, gives you at least a foundation structure to start with.
I definitely understand that.
I'm much more the don't tell me where to color, because I always got bored in coloring books. Like, I like them now as an adult for that soothing aspect, but I always
had to color in the outline first, and then color the center so that I wouldn't go over the line with the color. Had rules. Shocker.
Added lines to color into with it.
Hey, when we had to do map work in school, what is map work but another coloring book?
I was like, I'm not learning these capitals of states. I don't care.
You get to color them in. Who cares?
Maybe that was it. Because in 3rd grade, I was like, no, I will not memorize these. Yeah. Oh, you give me another map? No.
I won't do it.
I failed every state capital quiz willfully. It's the only willful.
I can see you as a kid do that, totally.
Willful refusal to participate in a school assignment. It's the only one in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I would not do it.
No way.
Except that time when I didn't want to learn a dance routine, and I told my music teacher we were going on vacation on the day of the show. And she let me pretend that for like...
Was that a lie?
Weeks.
That was a whole lie?
My mom never believed in missing school for trips. No. But I did not want to do, I cannot keep a rhythm. So our music teacher was a former Broadway chorus girl.
Oh gosh, that's a lot of pressure.
We put on these intense performances that were always like very well choreographed, and
I would have loved that. I would have completely loved that.
no. So then I realized, like, what am I going to do on the day of that? I have to be here.
Is there any way it's a shame she couldn't let you participate in set design or find some other way to participate without having to dance?
It was not the time of adaptive learning.
Right.
No. So that's
You
the
did
other
what
time
you was
I
told.
willfully tried not to do a school assignment. Other times it was just subtle. How little of this do I have to do to get an A? Because I still wanted an A, but how little of this do I have to do? So yeah, I'm just doing private drawing and watercolor, and it's very easy to get lost in it. And I think one of the important parts of it is to let go of what the outcome is.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part for me.
And
just let it be what it's going to be. And then I do that sometimes with my son, but then I can't go back and look at it because then I'll get bugged by it not being something. So I just enjoy the process and then move on to something else. But that's not really what I'm doing. But Katie, so you're doing watercolor, Anne. Katie, what are you doing? Or is Anne, are you doing more?
No, that's it. Yeah.
So,
I found myself getting lost, and I'm like, I wonder what else you guys are doing.
So I talked about Sims, so I've been playing a little bit of Sims. I'm going to talk about Animal Crossing again because I've been playing that a lot. But it's the same sort of idea because it's a world building kind of idea. So you have this like blank slate and you make it whatever you want. So that's been I didn't think of it as like a crafting kind of idea, but I think it is because it's very creative because you can like make it look however you want, right? There are certain things that you like need to do every day, but other than that, so like right now I'm trying to like I just moved all these things around and I built this new whole like section for where my house is, and now I'm building all these orchards and I'm like making everything in little lines so it looks nice. But it's been very distracting and a time kill, number one, but also it's just like it's very relaxing. Like I could just sit there and chill and like play forever. So that's one thing. The other thing, it's not like a comforting kind of thing. It's just a thing that I have been doing a lot of. And I haven't done it in a long time, is tie-dyeing.
Ooh.
I have a whole stack of tie-dye things to show you guys.
See,
Wow.
I've never really properly tie-dyed.
So much fun. I did it years ago, and I've done it as a kid, but I went online, and number one, it was hard to find tie-dye kits online because everybody had the same idea as me, which was a great kind of tie-dye. So I was able to finally order this kit from Michael's with a coupon, and it's this
tie-dye party
kit. Were you happy with it?
And it came with like 18 colors or something.
Have you washed those yet? Those items?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, did you start with shirts from there, or did you already have other shirts?
I went on Amazon and I bought like a pack of 3 plain men's t-shirts. And the first thing I tie-dyed was this sweatshirt. This one.
Oh, that's cool.
So this one was a crumple, which tie-dye is like really super hip right now with like the young kids. But like if you look up tie-dye that they sell in stores, it's all this like kind of random crumpled and more like desaturated, and like taking a black shirt and like bleach tie-dyeing it, like all that stuff real popular. But this was my first attempt, which is just a big old sweatshirt. So it's a big cozy sweatshirt. And then I bought 3 like plain men's t-shirts. And the first one I made is this stripey one. It's just yellow and red. And then I did this spirally one with black.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep.
I love that.
And then my favorite one is this one, which is another spiral, but it's like a real good classic rainbow
That's nice.
So that was very fun to do. And then I bought kids size t-shirts and I did them all for the nieces and nephews. I haven't given my niece hers yet because her birthday's coming up. So this is the tiny one I made for Amron. But it was super fun. So that was fun. Oh, also, I'm sitting right next to this. I'm sitting in my bedroom. This is my dresser. And I just realized I have a pair of socks, but I can't get to it because I can't open this drawer. Otherwise, I'd show you. I used up my leftover tie-dye to like dye a couple pairs of socks.
Nice.
Oh, fun.
Because you had a little bit left in each bottle and you can't save the dye because it doesn't work after like a day or whatever. But I would highly recommend this kit because it worked out really well. All the colors were real vibrant and it was easy and you just mix it with water.
Nice.
Have you guys heard of ice dyeing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I've done that
It's a similar kind of thing where you scrunch it or you prepare it and then you put ice on there and I guess you sprinkle it on the ice. And as the ice melts, it does really cool things. I thought that would be a fun thing for us to do.
With Kool-Aid before. I think on yarn.
Well, because a lot of t-shirts have cotton or something, you can't use your regular our regular acid dyes. But I was thinking, I do have the Procyon type dyes that are good for plant fibers in a powder form. I have some there in the office, and I was thinking about doing that.
Yeah, I've seen some really pretty things. There's a quilt designer who's playing with different dyeing, and she just did ice dyeing on one of her fabrics. I think Cotton and Bourbon is her screen name.
Yeah,
well, I saw the Instagram that Jacqueline, what's her name? Jacqueline, she's a knitwear designer, but she also, I guess, she designed a sewn garment for the new Making magazine, the newest issue. And somebody said that they love the idea of ice dyeing making a dress out of it and ice dyeing the dress after it was all put together. I thought, oh, that's a great idea.
I
want to get fabric
that to use this particular brand of tie-dye or this style of tie-dye with anything like a cotton poly blend. It doesn't work as well. That's what I read, but I didn't realize when I purchased this was like 50-50 or something, and it worked out fine. Trying to see if there's a tag I could tell you.
Yeah, I did something with that tulip brand from Michael. Is that the Michaels brand or something like that?
Yeah.
So I bought some t-shirt from Michaels, but they had too much poly, and I thought they were fully saturated. And when I went to rinse them, all the barest bit of dye disappeared.
This one's 50-50 and it worked fine, and then this one was 60-40. And I also did the wet technique, so all the fabric was wet first, because you can dye it more dry, and if you do it wet, then the color soaks in more. Or no, it doesn't soak in as like you don't use as much dye because the color's already wet, but it sort of fills in the gaps more, so there's less of a chance of like white peeking.
Yeah, I started with dry, so that would be my problem.
Yes,
I still wear the shirts.
So Kevin is our tie-dye at home. One of the few crafts I know he's good at and knows how to do. He's tie-dyed his lab coat, and he did some shirts for the kids. Fun. And then at Christmas this year, he asked us for our gift exchange. He asked us all a piece of clothing we would like. And so I was like, he's tie-dyeing. So I told him I wanted underwear. So he got a pack of Hanes underwear, correct size, good on him. And he tie-dyed me 4 or 5 pairs of underwear. And I loved it so much.
You know, that's awesome because I was thinking about like when you do a project like this one where it was like I used 3 colors, but I had little bits left and it wasn't enough to do another shirt. So it was like I needed like socks, but underwear is a good idea. I'll buy a pack of plain ones. I like that.
Yeah, it was it makes me happy. And like my kids were very upset that like, what did you pick, Mom? Oh, I told Dad I want underwear. It was like a second gift.
But think about it. If bras weren't so expensive, how awesome would a tie-dye bra be?
Yeah, but they're made of a lot of materials.
They're made of a lot of materials, but the outside. Anyway,
so that's one thing that it was a fun like 1-day activity. And I want to buy another one of these kits. I only have a couple colors. Sorry about that. Only have a couple colors left, but
Must be someone's
I thought it,
birthday.
no, that was like a fire truck. But I thought
Yeah,
it was fun for the kids to come over and do that as a very messy activity, but it would be fun.
Yeah, it's so fun though. It's mess worth doing. You might like doing the paper marbling that I took a class in, but it's so easy to do. She is doing some online classes, and it was fun to do a class with her, but I don't think you really need one. But she's a local designer, Kathleen Kaller, and that's what she is on Instagram, and she does paper marbling, and it's kind of like satisfying, I think, the way tie-dye is.
Yeah. Is that where you like make a palette in the water and then you dip it?
Mm-hmm.
I've done that before with bubbles, and it was like you mixed soap and water and dye, and you blew bubbles, and then you pressed the what do you call it, paper into the bubbles, so it made like a cool texture.
That makes sense, because the bubbles, you need something that's a surfactant that keeps the pigment on top of the water. Mm-hmm. So she uses these Japanese dyes that have the surfactant in them already, and you can get it on Amazon, and then you get a basic palette and just mix to your heart's content. But I read a whole bunch of other ways you could do it. You just need something that keeps it on top. Yeah. I think another fun one I've seen is you can do marbling with shaving cream.
And I've seen that.
Really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that before, but I've done that with, I think I've done the shaving cream one, where you like squirt a bunch in a pan and then you like marble like food colors or whatever, and then you press the paper into it. But yeah.
And if you wanted to do it, oh, I see your butt picture now. If you wanted to do it on fabric, that's where like the acrylics are good. I'm trying to remember who did that on Instagram, but she did that as a fabric application, and then she does these like very intricate anatomical embroideries, and she was doing like I think she put a pancreas on this little canvas bag that she first marbled, and she embroidered an anatomically correct pancreas on it.
Okay.
It was cool. Trust me, it was cool. I mean, if you're a diabetic, your pancreas is very important to you. Karin, how about you?
Well, it sounds like you guys have been very, very productive.
This is about productive. Yeah.
No, but I mean, you've been very mindful of maintaining your mental health and everything. I'm afraid I have not been as conscientious. And while I had good spirits the first couple months, being in a household with everybody else, we're kind of getting a little stir crazy. So we've had more meltdowns in my house, and I don't mind sharing that because I think that's a reality, because some people are feeling the pressure and the meltdown. Had quite a few of those the last couple weeks, but I am going to try some. I haven't usually I like painting, but I think in my mindset right now I'm not. I think I'll be overcritical, so I need those lines put out for me. So I'm going to do some adult paint by number.
Ooh.
We ordered them.
That sounds fun.
I'm going to do that with my youngest son, who is also struggling inside right now. So we're going to try to do that. But I also thought I would try diamond painting. I'm either going to love it or it's going to make me crazy.
You're going to try what?
Diamond painting. So there's no paint involved. They're like, think of like a mosaic with little tiny acrylic beads, and there's certain ways to do it. And I watched a couple of YouTube videos that said don't do anything too complicated. If you want to see the details on something that has a lot going on, then you have to get like a ginormous one, and that's probably not the project to start with. So
I've always seen those. They've always looked intriguing, but I think I would lean toward this is making me crazy rather than this is relaxing me kind of idea.
So I picked something that it's coming tomorrow, and let me find it in a minute. it's not too, I kept coming back to it. So I thought this is probably the thing for me. And I'll pull it up. So, or actually, no, that's the paint by numbers one that I picked that was a lot simpler. I did pick a crazy one, but I kept coming back to it. And I thought, you know what, because you can totally get lost. There's so many there. And I kept thinking maybe that's going to be too much. But I picked one for which we have the puzzle version of. So it kind of has, you know, I'm familiar with the picture. It has, I know that my mom-in-law, if I give it as a gift to my mom-in-law, she's going to like it. Let's see if I can find a picture of it and make it big. And of course it is, let me see if I can pull it up. It reminds me of one of those Thomas Kincaid kind of ones.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Isn't that a Marty Bell?
I don't know. It reminds me of Thomas Kincaid, but it could be, I don't know.
She's a contemporary of Thomas Kincaid that did the same kind of thing.
My guess, because this is coming from China, it's probably a Chinese knockoff. You know, actually we have a Chinese knockoff of a Thomas Kincaid in our living room. My mother-in-law really, really loved it. And she didn't want to pay for a Thomas Kincaid because she just likes the picture. She doesn't care who painted it.
Mm-hmm.
And actually the quality from this Chinese artist is really, really good. You know, and it's not signed like a Thomas Kincaid. They don't try to pretend, you know, that they're giving you, you know what you're buying when you buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, some things from China are actually good. My sister-in-law bought her wedding gown from a place in China, saved some money. But oh, here's the paint by number that I got. Let me see if I can pull it up.
I don't like Thomas Kincaid.
No, his is very hallmarky.
That's pretty.
But isn't that pretty? It
Yeah.
almost looks like a photograph. And so
like
I thought I could, huh?
Is it a watercolor?
It's acrylic. It's a paint by number.
That's
That's the paint by number you're doing. That's pretty.
The paint by number. If you get,
I like that.
you know, when you get really close, you can see
So it's like a flower in a little jar.
in a mason jar with on a bench, and like that's the kind of thing I'd like to have in my house. So, and that's what someone said. They said, if you're going to do this, you always people start off when they want to do this and they start giving them away, but you really need to pick things that you enjoy doing. Just like knitting projects or crochet projects. You kind of got to like the materials you're working with. So we'll see how that goes.
I've been thinking about like picking a Bob Ross episode and doing that kind of painting, because that's I could handle, because he'll tell you exactly what to do at every step, because I'm bad at the go your own way creative part of that.
like there are some like Will Wheaton and his wife are serious Bob Ross like students.
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
If you check out his Instagram, because there's, you know, you can still take like Bob Ross style classes in person. They're doing it somewhere in LA, of course. So back to Thomas Kincaid bashing. Sorry for people who love it. There is one Thomas Kincaid thing that I always wanted to buy, and I'm very sad that I did not, because first of all, he's very talented. Second of all, so good and well managed. Like, he really created a brand, and that is so impressive. And I think all those things are actually very admirable. His work doesn't feel
very distinctive aesthetic.
Yeah.
But you know when you're buying a modern Thomas Kincaid, he didn't really paint it.
No, I know that too.
His people are painting it. So this is why we didn't feel bad buying it from China, because it's something in his style,
right?
You know, like his students do. So
I met someone randomly who's in the funeral business. I don't remember what he does now, but he was very excited because he used to be like part of his travel team. And he was talking about like, how long it takes. And one of the previous owner of the funeral home, Jay, is very serious about collecting him, and he has like a lot of really beautiful pieces. So the funeral home is full of them. They just don't appeal to me.
Yeah, it kind of is funeral home art.
Yeah.
How do you think about it?
Well, I mean, one of the reasons it still remains to this day is that it's very comforting to people, and they are very comforting images.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I always wished I owned that was Thomas Kincaid is he had printed toilet paper.
Oh,
That's so fun.
seriously?
I wish that I had ever had some Thomas Kincaid.
Kincaid toilet paper.
But you could never use it. I mean, that's like, here's what I think of you.
Want that?
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Okay, but I did buy some since maintaining the
Studio.
all that job, maintaining facilities.
Facilities job.
Jimmy Beans has produced printed toilet
I
paper.
was just wondering, you said something about cute toilet paper coming, and I was like, I wonder what Anne bought. That's
So I bought
funny.
Jimmy Beans
Hostage.
toilet paper, which has
That's
they're
way too fun.
rolls. This is the most I'll ever spend on toilet paper, but I haven't had to spend much, and I didn't know where toilet paper would be coming from, you know, in the future when I ordered this in April. So we have the next.
That's so funny.
I think I ordered 36 rolls.
Oh,
That's awesome.
oh, that's fun.
The thing is, I wish that the whole toilet paper was this, honestly, because do you need to wipe your butt with moss stitch pattern? And it's not crocheter friendly, but maybe the crocheters will feel good wiping their tissues with it.
Yeah. Well, this is what I think about your knitting patterns. That's really funny.
So
That is hysterical.
you started a new calming craft, but you found a new calming craft, maybe two.
Maybe two.
Yeah.
Maybe next time when we talk again on our next episode, you can let us know how that went.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm more excited to try the diamond craft one. My husband's like got so many, he's into puzzles. I don't have the patience for a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to sit still at one place. I like something that I can take with me from place to place. I don't like to be confined. One thing I have done, which is not crafting at all, is because I'm used to my existence being with very little noise, and having 6 people with all their noises all day long is very jarring, and it's very hard to calm down. This is why I don't go to bed until later, because I have to have everybody quiet. But I've been wearing, maybe I'm doing damage to my ears, I don't know, but I have my earbuds in all the time because it dulls the noises and it keeps me calm. And the times that I don't have that, my family notices I get really agitated over little things. But you know, I'm not the kind to get up and go and take a walk around the block, because I like to be doing something. And there's nothing more frustrating than being in the middle of trying to focus on that's the hardest part, is trying to focus on something. I've been trying to design something, and my inability to get the squirrels in my brain to slow down enough to focus is probably the hardest part. So sometimes just putting the earbuds in, even if I'm not listening to anything, dulls the outside noises enough for me to stay calm enough to read a book or listen to a book, or which, by the way, our next book, which will, if you guys aren't listening to the book podcast, it's going to be really, really good. I've been enjoying it.
Ironically, I've not started it yet. Ironic because it's my choice. I like and outside of crafting, I guess, like, I phrased it as crafting because that's something that, you know, unites us all. I have rediscovered bike riding, which I'm not doing a ton of because my bike I found it needs a little work that might be outside my skill set. The derailleurs, skipping the gears, and I'm not sure how to fix that. Because just because you watch a YouTube video doesn't mean you know how to do something.
Yeah, that's so true.
So, but it's so fun to get on your bike and just ride your bike somewhere.
And you guys aren't that far that you couldn't ride to the beach if you wanted to. Or do you guys have a trail that would go all the way down?
Yeah, we're right next to the Ojai Trail, which goes
That's perfect.
Beach and all the way back. The thing is I could see us more going into Ojai, depending on the weather, because the way towards Ojai is uphill the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing the downhill on the first part is very fun, but not that fun coming back.
So you make Kevin drive you to Ojai and drop you off, and you get to come home the fun way.
But so Kevin, you know, is a big guy with a big belly, and he got 2 of the bikes refurbished. So this was one of the times we were being creative because bikes have sold out everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not know that. I should appreciate what I've got.
As of like a week or so ago, you could get them. The Ventura Bike Rentals is not renting bikes, but they are selling them as fast as they can. So they
Wow.
beach cruisers for about $250, which is kind of reasonable. It's kind of a reasonable price in this market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I told Kevin to go take a look at it. He's like, well, what do we do with these other 2 bikes we have that need work? I'll take those along and see what they can do. So he took the bikes over and just ended up having them fixed. And it was like, I think after everything's said and done, it was $200 to get 2 bikes worked on, which
That's not
better than.
that's like having $100 bike. I mean, that's not bad.
Take them.
And then we're also not trying to figure out what to do with 2 broken bikes that just take up space. So that was another, like, why do I keep looking on Amazon where everything's sold out? Why don't I think about what our local resources are and see what we can do? So I'll probably go back to them to work on my bike as well.
Where did you take them?
Ventura Bike Rental on like West Main Street.
Have you tried I think it's called the Ventura Bike Hub. It's on the Avenue.
Yeah, well, I think this is the one that Kevin looked at, because is that the one where they have all the tools and will show you how to work on your bike?
I'm not sure, but I know the owners, and I think you do too.
Oh.
I'll tell you later.
Cool, that's fine. I would like Kevin looked them up if it's the one I'm thinking of, and at the time he looked it up. So this is 2 weeks ago, which things change very quickly right now. They were open, but they were only working on people, like they were only allowed to work on people's bikes or who it was their primary form of transportation.
Got it.
Oh.
The timing didn't work out. We'd been thinking that we would go there, but
I just know the people and I like them, and I know that you know them too. So I was curious if you had been there.
Well, now I want to go there, maybe because I want to know how to fix my problem. Also, you know, like when you go to get something fixed on your car and you know you should have been doing something different, but here it is, it's broken and you need it fixed. You don't have like a lecture that goes with it.
Yeah.
I guess like one bummer thing was when Kevin took the bikes in, they're like, oh, you're those people who you store them outside. Well, look, I got other things in my garage. So the bikes aren't going in the garage. Yeah. So I know that one of the problems with my derailleur is that it's rusted. Tin roof.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear about it. So if I could go somewhere that was empowering and didn't tell me,
yeah,
you change your oil sooner. So like I've rediscovered bike riding. That's not a crap.
Oh, no, but it is a good thing to get you outside. Anything that helps your mental health is a good thing.
I have a sad relationship with bike riding because when I was little, my great grandma passed away and she had this dark pink Schwinn, and we were like cleaning out her house and somebody was like, or no, maybe it was my great grandpa, I can't remember, but somebody was like, who wants this bike? And I was like, I want this bike. So I took it home and my dad like showed me like how to like scrub the rust off of it and work on it. And then I didn't work on it for a while, but I liked it. And then my dad is like notorious for like throwing things away when you're not looking.
Oh no.
So I no longer have my Schwinn.
Oh.
And then James had this bike when we lived in Ventura that was his from when he was like a teenager, and it was like a cruiser bike. And I wanted to get into bike riding, so I took it to my dad and I was like, it probably needs new like inner tubes, and I don't know what it needs to be fixed up because my dad's a bike guy, so he helped me like fix it up. And then I didn't ride it because I thought it was a great idea to ride my bike, and then I never got around to it. And then when we moved, it didn't end up moving with us because I think James donated it.
Oh no.
It's not meant to own a bike, I've learned.
Well, not
no,
right
but
now,
you
anyway.
can borrow mine. We live in the same town, and I know you've ridden it, and I know when it was brand new, it must have been in the box for a long time because the rubber part of the brakes, anytime you used them, it squeaked really, really, really badly.
Well, my favorite part, go ahead. I would say my favorite part of the bike repair was the old tubes because Kevin takes it in, they work on the 2 bikes. One had a front wheel problem, and then I don't know what the problem on the other one was. But they must have checked both, or they over pumped the old tube.
Oh no.
Like, long story long, Dante, I was trying to teach him how to change the gears, so I rode his bike for a minute, and then I got off of it and I was showing him how that worked, changing the gears while it's moving. and we both are just, we hear, no one was on it, and it just popped out of nowhere, and then we had to walk our bikes home for half an hour.
Yeah.
I could have left him behind, but I don't know, something about leaving him on the darkening Ojai Trail didn't sound like good parenting.
Well, that's nice of you.
Well, anyway,
Um,
if you do feel like riding a bike, we live in the same town, and
There
at
are
least
like 100 bikes at my house that I have access to. I just haven't gotten that bug yet to.
and I do the circuit around town. The
You know,
problem is but the only times I have are when it's windy. And no matter what, you've got the wind in your face, and it's almost like you're riding uphill, no matter which direction you end up with.
it's up both ways.
There was a time like 2 years ago when I lived on the other side of town, like right near the grocery store, and I was like, I'm gonna start riding my bike to the grocery store, and I'll pick up groceries and I'll ride them home. But it was before I got a basket for that bike, so I was like, it'll be fine. So I went to the grocery store on my little bike and I shopped for my groceries, and there wasn't a lot of things that I needed. And then I was like, okay, well, it's time to come home, and I couldn't fit everything in my backpack, so I had one bag sort of hanging on the handlebars as I was riding, and it had a little carton.
Was it the plastic bags?
No, it was like a fabric bag, like a reusable bag that I brought.
That feels better.
It had a little carton of heavy cream in it because I was making, I don't know what I was making. But I was riding home and it slipped on the handlebars like down, and then that little carton of heavy cream got stuck on the wheel and exploded all over me and my bike. So I'm not doing that again. That's gross. I was right.
No,
It wasn't that bad, but I decided quickly that was not for me.
I do have a wire basket that goes on and off from the front. And the reason why I make sure I take that in the store is it is so easy to overshop and have no way to get it home without like juggling it under an arm or something. So when you're limited to what will fit in that basket, then it makes a difference. But I've had purses for whom the crossbody purses that I've broken the straps on because, going along on that bike, it just doesn't, it rubs too long. I've learned not to wear sweaters with that because then the hardware on the bag gets caught on the sweater. Things you learn.
You ride your bike a lot, Karin.
Oh, no, I did when it was new. I begged for that bike. I said, that's the only thing I want for my birthday and Christmas because my birthday's really close to Christmas. And my husband's like, you're really going to ride it? I go, yeah, I totally will ride it. I promise. I will ride it so much.
Yep.
And then they'd be like, let's go ride your bike. It's kind of windy. Oh, it's a little hot.
I get it.
I did go on I
bugs in your teeth,
I don't go that fast.
When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I didn't have a license still, so bike riding was my mode of transportation. The thing that I was going to share about Kevin is he decided that he was not comfortable on a conventional bike, so he started to shop for trikes. Yeah. So he has a big red Schwinn trike that he is assembling. And it has
that is cool.
Basket in the back. So I'm like, look at that. We can all put our nice water bottles in the back there and the picnic, which is why he probably will not be willing to drive me to Ojai and let me ride down.
Right. We have this one walk that we like to do, and it's a beautiful walk in it, but it's really long. So to get to the pretty part, you have to go for 3 miles. And then by the time you get there, I don't want to walk 3 miles home. So we had my dad, we walked all the way there, and we told my dad we'd call him when we got there, and then he picked us up and then drove us home, which was nice.
It's hard.
Well, let's transition to real quick what we're obsessed with. And you get to go first.
What?
You get to go first.
Thanks. Okay. I had a long list for this. And then I've forgotten everything that's on my list as of this afternoon because I discovered staying in with Emily and Kumal.
I love Kumal.
I know. Is it Nina? I never get it. Say it again.
Nanjiani.
Yes, there it is. Nanjiani. and his wife
Johnny.
Emily has her own name.
Yeah, I can't remember her last name.
I'm gonna find it because she should have her own name. Emily Gordon. And they are so, like, I'm not really supposed to listen to things in my office anymore, but I sneak it in, and I shouldn't do this one in the office because I cannot not laugh out loud at them.
Oh.
They
I
are.
was thinking about your office at the studio, and I was like, why can't you do whatever you want?
Oh, no,
Your
no,
office
no.
at your other work, I understand.
My day job. I can't do what I want right here.
Yeah, I was like, why can't you listen to whatever you want there?
I'm not supposed to do it while I'm at my 9-to-5 job.
Got it.
I still do because sometimes I just need it to clear out what's happening around me, and I can't because they make me laugh out loud.
Is it a podcast?
Yeah, I found it on Stitcher. It was in the mood lifter. Because I'm also listening to this other one called the Rebel Eaters Club, which is very good. I think that was going to be on my list, and it's a re-education camp for me. It's about being comfortable with yourself and abandoning diet culture, and they're really good. I listened to, I'm just at the lead. It's a new series, Rebel Eaters Club. But it's a lot of like work. It's very good and easy to listen to, but so I needed something a little lighter.
Have you seen The Big Sick?
Yes, I love it.
About her.
Yes, and they're talking about it they're trying to talk about her because she's immunosuppressed, and then also she's had lung surgery because of that disorder that's faster immunosuppression. Or immunocompromised, I'm sorry. And so the whole first episode is talking about that without talking about it. And then they're like, so if you guys don't know what we're talking about, there's this movie. It's streaming on Amazon Prime.
It's a cute movie.
I love that movie.
And Ray Romano's in it, and he's never in things.
Who's that?
What's
Ray
the
Romano.
movie? What is the movie?
The movie's called The Big Sick, and Ray Romano.
Oh, The Big Sick.
Yeah.
I'm writing all this stuff down.
That's a great movie, and their love story is so precious. And I think there's this like intimacy of them being willing to portray their story like that is so brave. Like, yeah. I mean, we seem to know a lot about famous people, but this is like really their story of something that watch it if you haven't seen it. That could have been.
And it's funny because Kumail's so funny.
I watched Stuber this weekend.
Oh, is that good?
No!
Yeah, I didn't think it would be.
It's terrible. I was talking to my oldest about it. He's like, yeah, I saw that in the theater. I'm like, you paid movie theater prices for that?
Yeah.
Kumail is so funny, and Dave Bautista is also
I love Dave Bautista.
But it's a terrible movie.
Yeah, I kind of assumed.
I think one spoiler is they keep talking about the day because it's a day in the life of an LAPD detective and an Uber driver, and Dave Bautista, the detective, and Kumail Nanjiani, thank you, is the Uber driver. And they keep doing this thing where they're saying it's the hottest day of the year in LA. And then, LA doesn't really get summer storms. And at the end of the movie is like fight scenes in pouring rain. And I think that because they mostly do this heat wave thing as voiceovers. And I think it's to cover for the fact that Dave Bautista is sweating
the whole time.
the whole time.
That's so funny.
It was probably filmed in the winter in LA, and he is
I love that.
sweating so much. Yeah, it's good. So that is my new obsession, is staying in with Emily and Kumail, and it is laugh out loud because apparently he got like super buff because he's going to be in the Marvel universe, and getting even more jacked on quarantine.
He is a handsome man.
It doesn't hurt him to be pumped up either.
Because I loved him before, and then I saw like his after picture, and I was like,
yeah, I know. And she's cute as a button, so they're just like a very good looking couple. I respect people's desire or choice to not have children, but I would love to see what their babies look like. But I think that's not in the cards for them, which also none of my business.
Yeah.
You just wonder what two pretty people would make.
Yeah.
Katie, what is your obsession?
I have like a guilty pleasure obsession. I'm currently rewatching Survivor because I used to watch it when it was, I mean, it's still on. There's like 40 seasons of it.
Yes.
But
this was the best season ever. That's all. If you haven't caught up to season
watched
40,
any of the new stuff,
just know that you're going to love the season. It was fantastic.
I used to watch it like way back when. We started at season 1 when it first came out. And I'm currently, well, I didn't start with season 1 when I started. I think I started with 17 because I like Googled like a good season.
Did you go back to Africa at number 3? Number 3 to me is still one of my favorites. When they went to Africa.
I went back was to 17, which was in Africa, but it wasn't that one. So I started at 17, yeah, right. And then I think I'm currently on 20 or 21. I can't remember. No, okay.
I watched. They do a lot of the same islands when they get to the 20s.
I watched 17, 18, I skipped 19, and now I'm on 20. And I think 17 might be the last one where they stopped experimenting with places to go, and now they just pretty much go to Fiji the whole time. But
that's a tough one.
So was China when they went? Did you see the one where they went to China? I wonder if that was in that early.
I don't remember. I'm at the point where it's like I think I watched this season when it happened 10 years ago, because I kind of remember the people, but I'm not entirely sure. I think I did. I know I watched the last one, so I think I'm going to be eventually getting into new people and new things that I don't remember. But we freaking loved Survivor when it came out originally, and I'm having like the best time binge watching episode after episode after episode of Survivor. So that's what I've been doing lately.
So if you get a chance, go back to season 15. That's when they go to China.
Okay.
It's either China or no, go to the one where they go to the Amazon where there's piranha in the water. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I haven't decided like what my trajectory is going to be, if I'm just going to keep going or if I'm going to go backwards, or because I know I'm going to remember stuff if I go backwards, but I kind of want to watch stuff that I haven't seen yet. So I think that's where I'm working my way toward. But
I was thinking about trying out a reality TV that I never got into and would really not appeal to me, but I was watching that Brad Mondo, watching more of his videos, and he has reacts to America's Next
Top Model. I know, I've been watching those too, and I'm sorry if you can hear my
like it was dinging
coming through. Yeah, sorry about that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, his reacts to Next Top Model are so funny, and I remember watching all of those seasons.
It is very funny, and Kevin loved that show. Like before,
I used to love that show.
Kevin watched that show all the time, and I'm like, "What are you watching?" And he was really into it.
It was a good show.
So I'm gonna have to see where that's streaming. So fun time.
I think it's on Hulu too.
Nice.
What's yours, Karin?
Well, I've taken my obsession of watching Great British Bake Show to actually making the bakes.
I have been about that.
I have totally been collecting the pans. I have so many different kinds of tart pans. Oh, for Father's Day, my husband has asked for a tiramisu cake, with all the different layers. So I got a special square pan for that. I did make a brioche loaf, which was not gluten-free. And strangely enough, I did not have a reaction. So I don't know if it's the combination of, it's 2 parts flour to 1 part butter. There is so much freaking butter in this, and it was amazing, and it toasted like nobody's business. And I did not have a reaction, so I don't know if it's because the strong flour, which is different from regular flour. I've got a collection of flours, but it has more protein in it. And because it's homemade, it may not have the other additives that store-bought breads have. But my next bake is going to be a peach upside down thing.
Ooh.
So I got some fresh peaches yesterday from the market, and I'm trying to search which season had the recipe where they had their take on the upside down bake. And to that, we've been adding cocktails. So I've got the ingredients to make an alcoholic version of the Disneyland Dole Whip,
Ooh.
but with coconut milk and coconut rum and frozen pineapple. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty good.
Are you drinking those cocktails?
Yeah, I'm drinking those cocktails.
What?
We don't know. I made a really okay. So for Mother's Day, I made something with it was a blackberry brandy. So I made a cocktail with blackberry brandy and fresh blackberry, like a 100% blackberry juice mixed with cranberry juice over ice. You couldn't taste the alcohol because the amount of alcohol you actually add is so small. Like it's like this much to a big pitcher. You know, it's not that. But yeah, it was good. So
I would like to try. There is a vodka rosé that I saw John Barrowman like review on his Instagram stories. Which Karin, did you not know that he has like the most amazing Instagram ever?
I did not, but he is a yummy guy.
You love Captain Jack. That is why I'm pausing.
Yes, I do.
About this.
I'm gonna have to go to his Instagram.
Not like him, right, Katie? Like you're not a Captain Jack. What?
I don't mind him.
Okay, I'm very pro Captain Jack.
So what does he do on his Instagram feed?
Oh, he's like he's very John Scott Barrowman. So like he dresses in drag, he does performance, he cleans his kitchen, he organizes his kitchen, he does cocktails, he bakes pineapple upside down cake, he does weird voices with Instagram filters, and he makes fun of his Scottish parents, which is my favorite. So I live in Palm Springs with him too. Not with him, but like nearby. And he like I used to just watch him on Facebook, but now I like him much better following his Instagram. He makes fun of his Scottish parents all the time. And it's fantastic. Like a lot of first generation kids, which actually he was born in Scotland, I think. But anyway, a lot of first generation kids do the best impressions of their parents.
Yep.
And it's gold.
When last little thing. So I don't know if you guys are into, it's not Seth's Comics, but there's one of the comic shops I just know that the owner's name is Timmy.
That's
His parents are totally British, and we know him because he and my eldest were on the same soccer team for a couple years. We did AYSO together. So what's really funny is he always has a British accent, but he doesn't. He can come up with a British accent, but he was born here. He's only ever been here, but sometimes he comes, my friend, my son's friends will be like, oh, the guy from Great Britain. He's like, no, he was born here. We played soccer with him. He's not Britain.
Probably
they're making fun of
it. Slip in it.
Yeah. So.
Because his Scottish accent is, for an American ear, it sounds pretty good.
Nice.
Sorry to accuse you of not liking Captain Jack, Katie.
No, I don't mind him at all. You said he lives in Palm Springs because that sounds like the perfect place for him.
He does live in Palm Springs. He's not shy about it. I was thinking about it because a lot of people make fake accounts for him, and I worry about these famous people who tell us too much about their lives. Like he was showing us what's in every drawer of his kitchen after he organized it. Like, if I were a stalker, I could go and make myself a cup of tea really easily. Wouldn't that be weird? I don't know. I don't want you to see what kind of locks I have on my door when I take a picture in front of my house.
Yeah.
I'm worried about you famous people sharing too much, but it's very entertaining. He does a lot of TikTok videos with that song "Bored in the House."
Yep.
But he does a lot of TikTok with that.
Probably just called "Bored in the House." All right. Well, I think we're at the 2-hour mark. So.
Cow.
Yeah. So we got to wrap it up.
Wow. Yeah, good night and goodbye, listeners and watchers.
And if you made it this far, then thank you very much.
Yep, we appreciate you. Hope you're all well.
Stay well, everybody.
Stay well.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.